Title: 7 Places on Earth Humans Were Never Meant to Visit. Some places on Earth are beautiful precisely because they look impossible. A red lake under a white sky, a cave full of crystals taller than houses, a valley that appears empty, quiet and harmless, until the air itself becomes the threat. These locations are real, and most are not places where you simply arrive, take a photo, and wander around. They are places where heat, pressure, toxic gas, unstable ground, or complete darkness can turn one small mistake into a rescue mission. Today we are counting down 7 places on Earth humans were never really meant to visit. This is not a list of haunted stories or movie locations. Every place here has a real physical reason to be careful. Some can be visited with trained guides, permits, and the right equipment. Others are studied only by specialists. And one is dangerous because the surface looks so normal that people do not realize what is below them until it is too late. Number 7. The Danakil Depression, Ethiopia. The Danakil Depression looks like someone painted a science fiction planet and then forgot to add life. It sits in northeastern Ethiopia, close to the border with Eritrea, in one of the hottest and lowest regions on Earth. From a distance, the colors are incredible: bright yellow sulfur, white salt crusts, green pools, orange rock and steam rising from the ground. But those colors are not decoration. They are evidence that the earth beneath you is chemically active. The region lies where tectonic plates are slowly pulling apart. That means the ground is fractured, volcanic heat is close to the surface, and mineral-rich water can emerge in places that look like ordinary puddles. Some pools are extremely acidic, others are hot enough to cause severe burns. The air around fumaroles can carry sulfur dioxide and other gases that irritate the eyes and lungs. A visitor does not need to fall into a volcano for this landscape to become dangerous. Standing downwind in the wrong place can be enough. Local Afar guides know how quickly conditions can change. They plan journeys around the heat, carry water, use established routes, and avoid unstable ground. There is almost no shade, and daytime temperatures can climb into a range where the body struggles to cool itself. Dehydration is not dramatic at first. It begins as thirst, a headache, and poor judgment. In a place with no easy shelter, poor judgment becomes a bigger danger than the landscape itself. That is what makes Danakil so unsettling. It is not one single threat, it is a whole environment that demands constant attention. Heat reduces energy. Gas makes breathing harder. Uneven salt crust hides soft mud. Distance becomes difficult to judge because the horizon is so flat and bright. It is beautiful, but it is beautiful in the way an active laboratory is beautiful. You can admire it, but you do not touch anything without knowing exactly what it does. Number 6. Lake Natron, Tanzania. Lake Natron is famous online for photographs of animals that appear turned to stone. The truth is less supernatural but still strange. The lake is highly alkaline because water flows in, minerals collect, and there is no outlet that carries those minerals away. Over time, salts and alkaline compounds become concentrated. The water can reach a very high pH, especially in dry periods. For many animals, that environment is hostile. If a small bird or animal dies near the shore, mineral deposits can coat it and preserve its shape. That is where the eerie photographs come from. But Lake Natron is not simply a dead lake. It supports microorganisms, and it is one of the most important breeding areas for lesser flamingos. They can survive there because they have adapted to the conditions and because the lake offers protection from many predators. Humans do not have that adaptation. The water can damage skin and eyes, and the exposed lake bed can be difficult to walk on. Around the lake, the heat is intense. The sun reflects hard off the pale salt, and clean drinking water is limited. A person might look at the shallow water and assume it is safe to cross. That is exactly the kind of assumption these places punish. The bigger lesson of Lake Natron is that a location can look calm while being chemically extreme. There are no giant waves and no towering cliffs, just a broad, flat lake, colored red or orange by salt-loving microorganisms. But calm scenery does not mean gentle conditions. In extreme landscapes, the danger is often hidden inside something that looks ordinary. Number 5. The Door to Hell, Turkmenistan. In the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, there is a crater that glows orange at night. It is commonly called the Door to Hell, although its official name is the Darvaza gas crater. The crater has burned for decades because natural gas escaping from the ground was ignited. From far away, the glow looks almost unreal. Up close, it is a deep pit filled with flame, heat, and the sound of burning gas. The danger is obvious in one way: it is fire. But the dangerous part is not just the temperature. The rim can be unstable, especially around loose desert ground. Hot air rises from the crater, carrying fumes. At night, it can be difficult to judge depth, distance, and the safest place to stand. People are drawn to the edge for photos, which is exactly where a small slip becomes serious. The crater also tells a story about how complicated the ground beneath us can be. Natural gas deposits, drilling decisions, unstable soil, and ignition combine to create a landmark that was never planned as a tourist attraction. Now, the crater is famous, but fame does not make it safe. A place can become popular online long before it becomes suitable for casual visitors. If you ever see video from Darvaza, remember that the camera hides the heat. It hides the dry wind, the fumes, and the fact that there may be no quick help nearby. The image is a glowing circle in darkness. The reality is an industrial-scale fire in the middle of a desert. Number 4. The Valley of Death, Kamchatka. Kamchatka in far eastern Russia is one of the most volcanically active regions on Earth. Its Valley of Death sits inside the Krunodsky Nature Reserve, surrounded by dramatic mountains, rivers, and geothermal features. The name is not exaggeration. In certain low areas, volcanic gases can collect close to the ground. Carbon dioxide is heavier than air, so it can settle in dips, gullies, and enclosed spaces. Hydrogen sulfide may also be present. The problem is that gases like these are often invisible. A person can walk into a low patch of ground, notice nothing unusual, and suddenly feel dizzy or short of breath. Animals are especially vulnerable because their heads are closer to the ground. Researchers have found dead birds and mammals in parts of the valley, not because of a predator or a visible trap, but because the air was unsafe to breathe. Scientists who work there monitor conditions, choose routes carefully, and avoid lingering in depressions. Weather matters too. Wind can disperse gas, while calm conditions can allow it to gather. That means a path that seems harmless 1 hour can be dangerous later. It is the kind of place where your own senses are not enough. You need measurements, local knowledge, and a plan for getting out quickly. The Valley of Death makes a terrifying point. The world does not need monsters to be dangerous. A landscape can be green, silent, and full of sunlight, while the air near your feet is deadly. It is one of the clearest examples of why people should not treat remote nature like a theme park. Number 3. The Catacombs of Paris, France. Paris is known for crowded streets, cafes, and famous landmarks. But below the city is another Paris. Hundreds of kilometers of old quarry tunnels, service passages, and underground spaces. A small, controlled portion is open to the public, as the catacombs. Beyond that official route is a much larger maze that is closed, difficult to navigate, and in some places dangerous. The public catacombs already feel eerie. Walls of carefully arranged bones mark the remains of people moved from overcrowded cemeteries centuries ago. But the illegal tunnels are a different world. Some are flooded, some have low ceilings, some end at collapsed stone. GPS is useless underground, phone signal may vanish, and one wrong turn can put you in a passage that looks exactly like the one you just left. People sometimes enter because they think it will be an adventure. They bring weak flashlights, little water, and no map. The tunnels then turn a simple walk into a navigation problem under a city. Rescue teams have had to search for people who became lost only a short distance from streets full of traffic and lights. The real danger of the Paris catacombs is not a ghost story. It is disorientation. Darkness changes how time feels. Repeating tunnels make every direction look plausible. Panic makes people move faster and make worse decisions. In a confined underground space, the safest rule is simple. If you are not on the authorized route with the right guidance, do not go in. Number 2. The Cave of Crystals, Mexico. Deep beneath Nica in northern Mexico, workers discovered a chamber filled with giant gypsum crystals. Some are longer than a bus and weigh many tons. The cave looks like a frozen fantasy world, with pale beams crossing in every direction. But it is also one of the most physically punishing places scientists have ever studied. The cave is extremely hot and humid. Temperatures can rise above 45 degrees Celsius, while humidity remains near 100%. Sweat cannot evaporate effectively, so the body loses one of its main cooling systems. In those conditions, even a healthy person can become overheated very quickly. Researchers use cooling suits, controlled entry times, and careful monitoring, because staying too long can lead to confusion, exhaustion, and collapse. The crystals formed slowly over hundreds of thousands of years in mineral-rich water. They are beautiful because the cave conditions stayed stable for an incredible amount of time, but the same conditions that preserved the crystals make the chamber hostile to human bodies. It is not a museum. It is an extreme environment that happens to contain something astonishing. This cave shows why nature does not care whether a place looks inviting. A giant crystal can seem magical, but a magical-looking place can still be hotter and wetter than the human body can tolerate. The most remarkable locations on Earth are often remarkable because they operate outside the conditions our bodies evolved for. Number 1. The unstable ground of the Afar region. The Afar region is not one single hole in the ground. It is a vast, tectonic landscape where the Earth is slowly changing shape. Salt flats, shallow lakes, geothermal vents, lava fields, and muddy pools can all exist within the same area. The most dangerous part is that some surfaces look solid when they are not. A salt crust can form over soft mud, hot water, or thin layers of mineral deposits. It may support a little weight, then crack under a person. Near geothermal activity, steam and scalding water can emerge through fractures that were invisible from a few steps away. A flat white patch might look like a dry path. It may actually be a fragile lid over a hostile space below. That is why experienced guides matter so much. They recognize color changes in the ground, understand which routes are safe in different seasons, and know when weather has changed the landscape. Heavy rain, evaporation, shifting mineral deposits can alter paths. This is not a place where a map from last year guarantees safety today. The Afar region earns number 1 because it combines all the dangers on this list into one lesson. The surface of the Earth is not always a promise. We expect ground to hold us up. In most places, that expectation is so normal that we never think about it. Here, it is exactly the assumption that can get people hurt. These 7 places are not warnings to avoid the world. They are reminders to respect it. The most unforgettable places on Earth are often the ones that demand preparation, local knowledge, and humility. Beauty is not a safety signal. Sometimes it is the warning sign.